Mr. Gru, Agent Lucy Wilde of the Anti-Villain League. You're gonna have to come with me.
Oh, sorry,
You know, you really should announce your weapons after you fire them. For example... Lipstick taser! Get in here!
Now that the actual villains have left, we can now have a civilized discussion about Despicable Me 2. Callum, you have seen this one?
Yes, I even semi-officially reviewed it for Screen as well. It's like,
and for the Pupcast.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So linking it all here and stuff, and yeah.
Okay. And Michelle and I have both seen it.
Yes, we did.
Okay, good. Now we're all on the same page. So,
Yay.
Despicable Me, in the first one, for anybody who didn't see that, it was about a supervillain by the name of Gru. And he's not a supervillain like in The Incredibles sins, where he's like, dressing up in costume and everything. He's more like the old school James Bond, kind of villain. The Roger Moore campy James Bond villain. And in that one, in order to sneak into another villain's house and get his secret plans, he adopts 3 children to distract him with Girl Scout cookies while he can sneak in. And then eventually he starts to bond with these children, and he loves them like they're his own, and he gives up his villainous ways. Despicable Me 2 picks up after that, and now Gru, he's no longer in the villain game. He's making jelly. That is how reformed he is. He has turned his evil villain factory into a jelly-making factory.
Moving into the jam industry soon as well.
He's about to get into the jam industry, too. Yes. Oh, jam. And nobody's going to know that song because I'm the oldest person here. Anyway. But yeah, his old friend, Dr. Nefario, has basically who was the crazy mad scientist kind of guy from the last one, has said, yeah, listen, I still want to be a villain. So he leaves. And so now Gru is left there to fully raise the children by himself. But that's fine. One of the things I like about this film, he loves the hell out of those girls. Mm-hmm. He is the total single dad in this. But everybody keeps telling him, hey man, you need a mom. We're going to set you up on dates. Everybody's trying to set him up on a date with something. But at the same time, a brand new supervillain has discovered a formula that turns people... It's the Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde formula, except it also makes you purple. And there's a new villain out there about to use it. So this secret organization, the Anti-Villain League, recruits Gru to go out and try and find this villain and stop him because, hey, Gru used to be a villain. He's reformed now, but he knows how villains think. And he doesn't really want to, but he decides to do it anyways because, hey, he's got to do something. And they pair him up with... Does anyone remember the character's name? What was his
Agent
name?
Wild.
Lucy.
Agent Wild, yes.
Yeah, Agent Lucy.
Lucy Wild, yeah. And who is voiced by Kristen Wiig.
Mm-hmm.
Kristen Wiig. Is it Kristen or Kirsten?
Kristen, I believe.
Yeah, you're thinking about Kirsten Dunst.
I'm never thinking about Kirsten Dunst. Even during those Spider-Man films, I was not thinking about Kirsten Dunst. But yeah, that's basically the plot. It gets a little bit more detailed from there.
Yeah, but we don't want to spoil it.
Exactly. But listen, what do you guys think about the first Despicable Me?
I thought it was really cute.
I liked it, too.
Yeah.
I thought it was okay. Like, I enjoyed it, but the reasons I enjoyed it were for its brilliant physical humour. Like, its physical humour. And then, that's pretty much, and, the Minions. Those were the 2 reasons I enjoyed it. It was kind of, the voice cast was pretty meh, including a villain by Jason Segel, who was flat and really, really terrible. And also it strived for an emotional core that I don't think it earned fully. But, again, I enjoyed it. It was disposable fun.
Exactly, yeah, that was the thing about Despicable Me. That was the thing about the first Despicable Me. Everybody was comparing it to, Pixar or DreamWorks and saying, oh, this is so subpar. Well, compared to those, it is. But to me, I liked it because, once again, the old guy coming in here. But to me, it was kind of like back when you had those cartoons like Rocky and Bullwinkle. Or, Tennessee Tuxedo, any of those ones from back then. Which, by the way, I'm not that old. I saw those in reruns when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They were on when my parents were in college.
Whatever you say.
But still, I grew up with that stuff, and I enjoyed it. But the thing is, in those cartoons, they would have little mini-cartoons in the middle of their regular cartoon. You would get Peabody and Sherman, or Aesop's Fable during the middle of Rocky and Bullwinkle. Or there was one about a turtle always trying to find a job during the Tennessee Tuxedo ones. I always forget its name. But it reminded me of those cartoons. It reminded me of those like little in-between cartoons. If they took one of those and made an adaptation of it, because it was that similar kind of like, oh, this is just a good feeling, just kind of to get me from point A to point B, basically. And yeah, that was kind of the feeling that I got from that first one. It is just upbeat. It's fun. I laughed at a couple stuff. Like you said, the physical comedy, which I guess that's not an actual term for animation, but like the actual what they did with the animation for gags. Like I dug it. Like what was it? That and Hotel Transylvania from last year were two films that were like, okay, yeah, you can do that 2D style of humor, that 2D beats with comedy, that with 3D that a lot of other people haven't. And I was able to enjoy that. And like you said, I love those little chicken nugget dudes, man. I can't, or the corn pop guys, as we always call them. The minions. I love those little guys. I can't describe it, but that is the most simple design, and yet it totally works.
Probably because they get a lot of the film's best jokes. So.
Oh, they totally get a lot of the film's best jokes. And they do in this one as well. I mean, I always love that the minions treat this evil facility kind of like it's a regular 9-to-5 job. I love that Gru treats them like he's the cool boss. Like in this one, the first time that Gru comes into the evil lair, which is now the Jelly Factory, he comes in and starts going, "Hey, Kevin, it's almost Friday, hang in there." I don't know why, but it cracks me up to see a former supervillain treating his little yellow, can't-talk chicken nugget henchman as, like, the cool boss. I don't know why, that cracks me up.
The one that suddenly, like, inexplicably gains a crush on Agent Wild during that one moment. Just
yeah, exactly. Exactly, like, that's the great thing about the minions. They go from one thing to the next, like that. And it's like, well, why did they suddenly have that happen? Because they're fucking minions. Because they're little chicken nugget dudes. Accept it. It's that they are there just for whatever joke is there at that moment, and it totally works. Like, I've always said that I love the interaction between the minions, because at one moment, the minions love each other, and they're hugging and having a big ice cream party, and the next man, they hate each other and are slapping the crap out of one another, or trying to hit each other with golf clubs.
And I love how, like, no one ever, like, really questions their existence or, like, what they do. It's like everyone just accepts the minions for, like, what they are, and that's what makes them so great as well, you know? It's like in the beginning, they were like celebrating a birthday party, and they're the knights in shining armor who protect the princess and everything, yes. And like none of the other parents care. None of them like even blink an eye. They're just there to make this birthday party a success and everything. So
yeah, and like I said about how the minions go from loving to hating each other on the drop of a dime. Yeah, they all come in with like little knights armors and swords and stuff. One of them trips over, and they all just start beating the crap out of that one that fell. It is hilarious, and like the animation carries it. That's what makes those jokes work. Is that that animation has that pop to it that makes that work.
Yeah, like the animation. I pointed this out specifically in the review, but the animation and character design are the kind of things that in Despicable Me 2 rescue other characters which should bomb horrendously. Like the eldest daughter. What's her name?
Shoot, I know all the ones except
Margot,
that's it. Yeah, Margot gains a love interest in this one called, I think it's Eduardo, and
something like that.
Yeah, and he is just like this really flat, boring character with nothing going on, and whose voice actor seems to mistake being really boring and flat for sounding cool and suave. But the animation is what saves it, because it's just the little things, like the way his mouth is always agape anytime he's not talking, or just the way he can incredulously move his hair. Or, like, it's that sort of little background thing that can rescue characters that should otherwise just be a drain and a bore.
Yeah, and going along with the animation, this studio has great character designers working for them. I mean, I did not like the Lorax, but even during that, I was like, you know what? The people who designed the characters for this, they totally match Dr. Seuss's style, which is not as easy as people think it is.
Yeah, especially in 3D.
Yeah, especially in 3D, you're right. Yeah. And in this one, once again, I love the character designs on the new characters. Gru has to, they think that this villain is hiding out at the mall. So Gru has to open up a fake bakery at the mall, Which, once again, that just proves to you the kind of humor that this is. If anything I'm describing to you does not instantly sound fun, then yeah,
It is
not
pretty much
for
a
you.
random events plot more than
It
anything
is a
else.
random event kind of, it is a random event kind of plot, but you're not really going there for the plot. You're going there kind of to
Just have fun.
Yeah, exactly. When you walk out of the theater, if you're mad at this, but you still smiled and you laughed at parts, but you're like, well, the plot wasn't all that great. Shut your mouth. This is not for that, okay? And it knows that. But when he goes to the mall, there's another guy there, and it's the father of this Eduardo guy. I can't remember what his actual name was, but Gru's convinced that he was an old supervillain called El Macho.
That's it.
And you get a moment, and you have a moment, it's a quick little segment, but the origin of El Macho, as Gru is telling it, that is some of the best character design and hilarious animation I have seen him
I
in
do
a
not want to
long
ruin this for
time.
anybody else, but that segment ends with the single most ridiculous image I will probably see all day. And I've seen Fast and Furious 6, and just... But this movie gets it. It gets
It's so good, yeah. It totally, in moments like that, it totally gets it. And it's like, I mean, there's a moment during that flashback where, like, yeah, I grew up on Looney Tunes. I love Looney Tunes, and some of my favorite ones were the Daffy Duck as a sheriff in the Old West. And they would always have a segment where some crazy drink was being mixed together, and you get something in that, and it's like, this is exactly that kind of humor.
Yeah.
It is perfectly matching up with that. But yeah, and also I think that the voice acting is better in this one. I thought Steve Carell did a surprisingly good job as Gru, because I never thought of him as a guy who could do voices until I saw that. But he's even better in this one.
Yeah.
I still love the little kids
Yeah.
from the last one. I thought they were adorable in the first one, and I think they were adorable in this one. I wish that the middle kid had more to do, because that was always my favorite one. Although in this one they have her wanting to be a ninja. No explanation of why, but like if you know little kids at that age, you know they're going to want to be a ninja or something like that. So there's no need for an explanation. But it's pretty cool. And I love seeing that the little girls now have like a connection with the minions. Like, one of my favorite running gags, which I don't know if it's quite meant to be as funny as I take it, but the fact that every single one of the minions have a name and Gru knows them all, that always cracks me up. And now the little girls themselves, like, all know the little minions' names. I love that stuff.
I'd say film like VO MVP in this film, accepting like a scene, almost film stealing cameo from Kristen Schaal during one of Gru's terrible days, which is a scene I just love to death for very inexplicable reasons. It's Kristen Wiig as Wilde, who is just pretty much perfect, because every single line reading is spot on, fits and helps build the character in a perfect, like just this way that works. And she's able to make even the corniest scene that should just like really be kind of this is the wrong side of corny cliche work.
Oh yeah, I kind of have a little bit of a problem with it simply because when I first heard Kirsten Wiig starting to do voice acting, I was like, man, she is fantastic. And now I've heard her so many times in voice acting that I'm kind of like, you guys know there are other women in the voice acting gig, right? You know that there are other people out there, and like, it kind of is just like, she's doing very similar to the characters that she's done before when she does voice acting. Don't get me wrong, it's still perfect for this character, but it's like for anybody who watches the new Looney Tune cartoon, she's doing Lola Bunny, is what she's doing. And don't get me wrong, she's perfect as Lola Bunny on that cartoon, and she's perfect as Lucy in this. But to me, it's just like, I've heard Kirsten Wiig do this character numerous times before, but if you haven't, you're not going to. It's totally going to be fresh and new.
Yeah, the closest thing to a vocal weak link in this film are Ken Jeong and Steve Carell, who both sound flat in Carell's case, miscast in Jeong's case, and therefore paycheck in both cases. But their characters are so minor; they're just basically in an out film, probably have a chance to suck it at the energy like Jason Segel.
I don't think you meant to say Steve Carell.
No, sorry, Steve Coogan. That's it, Steve Coogan.
Wait, Stu is Steve? Oh yeah, Ramsbottom.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, Ramsbottom is there for one joke.
Sheep butt.
Sheep butt, yes. That's a great joke.
Yeah.
But yeah, and Ken Jeong, I'll give Ken Jeong credit that he's not doing the one Asian stereotype voice he's always done in everything. He's doing a new Asian stereotype voice, but it's not the one he's always used, and the one we'll see him using in 2 weeks in Turbo. Jesus Christ, that was the worst part of this movie, seeing the preview for that. Yeah, so aside from that trailer, I really enjoyed a lot of this. There wasn't really any parts where it dragged, but I will say that, I was laughing hysterically at the beginning of this movie, and then towards the end, I was just smiling. Like the humor, it didn't get tiring to me, it didn't get old to me, it didn't get boring, but it didn't really have as much of a pop at the end as it did at the beginning, I guess.
I kind of felt like that was the whole point, though. It was like you want a nice happy ending. You don't really need that silly jokes to have like a happy ending.
I guess that's true.
I think the humour in that film climaxes at the point where the villain demonstrates exactly what the super Jews can do to people in a way that it just escalates and escalates and escalates until you can't help but laugh. No matter how. And then after that, it's just kind of, and now here's the big action sequence, now here's the heartwarming ending, and now here's the dance party ending, because, come on, people, it's a 2013 anime film by somebody not affiliated with Disney or DreamWorks. There's going to be a dance party ending. You saw this coming when you got into it.
DreamWorks does the dance endings, too.
No, I thought they started weaning away from that, but apparently not.
Maybe, yeah. I don't know. Megamind, for anybody who was complaining about Despicable Me, I was like, it's no Megamind when it comes to how bad the dance number is at the end.
There might be a dance number at the end of Turbo. We don't know.
I let the dance party ending of Despicable Me 1 go, because it was You Should Be Dancing by Bee Gees, and that song is just like an instant, okay, I have no problems with anything for me.
Yeah,
yes.
I heard people giving that so much shit at the end, but it's like, dude, they didn't just start dancing for no reason. They set this up. That is the thing, is that they set up the dance number at the end.
Instead of just going, dance party!
Yeah, exactly. And once again, at the end of this one, I could have done without 2 dance numbers at the end of it, but yeah, it still makes sense for the place where...
Also, I'm willing to set this one, I'm willing to let this one go for the fact that the dance party numbers performed to a song, or at least a version of a song I'd rather not spoil for our listeners. I'm willing to let it go for that.
I also want to mention how I like how in Despicable Me they actually took the world from the first movie and expanded it. In the first movie you see the villains and everything, but we're the heroes, and in here, boom, there you got it. You got the secret agents who are out trying to stop the villains, but sometimes they don't always succeed, but they do their best, and it's I'm glad they introduced new characters too, because when I saw the little teaser trailer for Despicable Me 2, the minions were getting abducted, so I thought, Vector from the first movie, his dad probably built a flying saucer to rescue him from the moon and probably wants revenge on Gru, but they didn't do that, and I'm glad. I don't like it when, sequels rehash things from the first movie and everything, so, and I really do love the new villain, too.
Yeah, he's great. But yeah, that goes along with what I was saying earlier, is the thing that bugs me the most about sequels is when they just do the same thing from the first one again, and in this one, I was so worried that, Gru would still not know how to deal with these little girls, and he would have to think, but I still kind of want to be a supervillain, and he'd be struggling with that again. No, they progress this story. He is now a super dad. He is totally committed to being a dad for these kids, and he's good at it. And there's even a moment where he gets the opportunity to go back to being a villain. And he doesn't even think about it. He's like, that's okay. No, I'm not gonna do that. It's I love that they do actually move this story forward. Mm-hmm. Alright, but yeah, as far as ratings go, I was kind of, I was going back and forth on my rating, but at the end, as the credits are going, we saw this in 3D, which, by the way, one of the big problems with 3D is that it gets tiring. Your eyes adjust to it after 10 minutes and you stop noticing it. And this one, the 3D is fantastic. That's one of the things I liked about the first one, is that the 3D was good throughout the whole thing. And in this one, during the end credits, the little minions come out again and do little jokes where they're throwing stuff at the screen. And it looked like it was right there in front of my face. And the people in front of us stood up and were about to leave, and then started ducking and bobbing and weaving away from this stuff flying at them. And we're just having a great time. And you know what? 2 weeks ago, I saw Man of Steel, and little children were coming out of the Superman movie bored or horrified. And you know, having a movie out there this summer that little kids can go and see that is not insulting to intelligence, that it actually is legitimately fun for people of all ages, and that little kids will just eat the hell up, I'm giving this a high 4 stars.
Pause.
4 paws.
Pause,
We're
yeah,
using pause now, remember.
I'm sorry, when you told me pause, I was like, wait, did someone call you again? What's going on? Alright, do I need to say it again? Oh, yeah. I give it a high 4 pause.
Okay. I give it about a 4 paws. Yeah, in there it is huge fun. It's still very disposable. I don't really think I'm going to remember much of it in later on, except for that one really stupid image. But yeah, no, it's a huge improvement from Despicable Me 1, and I think if that much of an improvement is made between this and the inevitable Despicable Me 3, because you saw that opening weekend, there's going to be a Despicable Me 3 after the Minions spin-off. I think if it improves as much there, we could actually have one of the best animated films of the year. Like, well, not just that, no, one of the best films of the year, quite frankly. There's a huge amount of improvement between this and the first one, to such an extent that I feel if you didn't enjoy the first one, you should still go to check this one out anyway. It's much, much better.
Yes, I agree with that, and that's why I also give it 4 paws.
Alright, holy crap, we're all in agreement for once.
Yay!
See, this is what happens when you get people who actually enjoy movies
This is what happens.
to review
This is what
movies.
happens when you don't get Jackson on there. Or as I'm now going to call him Mr. Negative Nancy.
Are you sure? Because I think that he and Maz are like right neck and neck for that title.
The Despicable 2.
The Despicable 2.
But